So as I say, we're craning our necks left and right, waiting for the Aerostars. They could be in front, they could be in front, they could be left, they could be right. Where are they?
They're behind.
Sorry? This is like a pantomime, isn't it? Oh no, they're not.
On our piece of paper it says possibly from the left or the right, or maybe in front. But if anybody sees them, give us a hint.
Yeah, we've been caught out. They're coming from behind. There's way too many people. There's a nice lady over there with her sunglasses on her head waving at me and telling me it didn't happen.
We can't get anything past you lot.
No, you're far too clever for us.
Finally! He's on his way down.
Where are they?
From all the way up there.
Behind you!
What are they?
Yeah!
Looks like you.
Freya, come here!
Fantastic. What a lovely display. 6 Russian aircraft all flying together in a formation.
You can't see.
Just
stop there looking for her.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2014 Aerostars. Who are slightly depleted. There being 5 of them, not the usual 6. But no matter, they will still be doing a very good display. Presumably, plastic bands may have broken off some of the other ones.
I want the dead.
They make a lovely arriving sound. They burble and gurgle and make wonderful noises, and these ones are absolutely no exception. So they are coming around, being led by Mark Rixer. He's actually a lawyer by training, but now is the director of a property company. And all of these guys own and pay for their own training and everything else. So here they are pulling up now into a double rolling loop. Here they are coming in one direction, keeping in formation. Now each guy is staring intently at the leader or the guy next to him. So the art of formation flying is to pick a couple of points on the aircraft you're formating on and never let them move in relation to where you are. So it takes great concentration and skill. And of course the guys on the inside of these turns are effectively having to slow up, while the guys on the outside are having to speed up and all the time stay completely in position. And Dave Boardman in the slot at the back, his view is just the leader's tail wheel and the underside of his wing. He fixates on that, and wherever the leader goes, he does. So this is their double quarter clover manoeuvre. And watch now as they do their arrow loop. All of these aircraft, all of the aircraft you see trailing smoke today are very ecologically friendly. Way back in the old days, the smoke was generated by putting diesel oil into the exhaust, but that's obviously a fire hazard. Yeah, there's somebody at the far end of the air show line flying a kite. Please, can one of the marshals get that kite down? It is dangerous. Thank you. So meanwhile, we now have the team coming in for the T-bar 360 and tail slide. So watch as the main formation comes around in front of you in T formation. Dave Boardman in the spare aircraft, coming in, accelerating hard in front.
Hey?
So watch now, ladies and gentlemen, as Dave Boardman comes along in his Yak 50, pulling up, climbing up for a tail slide, letting the speed decay off. There he is, slowing right down. You see the propeller slowing down, stopped in midair. At that point, all of a sudden, he starts going backwards, falls back through his own smoke, and off he goes. I mentioned earlier on that the smoke used to be done by diesel oil into the exhaust. and it meant that all aerobatic pilots smelled like the floor of a backstreet garage. And now with this stuff, which is essentially baby oil, they not only smell much nicer, not cooking it, but Mark cleaning them up now. For the bombers, watch as they come over the top of this, ladies and gentlemen. Get your cameras ready. There they split. Meanwhile, Dave is running in from the other direction, and he'll be going up to do a launch back, which is, whereas on the tail slide he stopped and just came back down again, watch what he's doing this side. Straight up, and then all of a sudden the aeroplane is just going to start swapping ends. There he goes, the launch back, a sort of horizontal spin. There he is, upside down, picking up the display line, rolling, make sure everything is fine, and accelerating away in the early 1990s, and learned to fly on a Slingsby T-67 so that he could do aerobatics. In 2004 he bought a Yak 50 and joined the team in 2005. Now we have two here. Coming in for the crossing break, we have the other two at high level. Watch out, get your cameras ready on these, because they're going to be doing something as well. Oh, pulling up to form the heart. Now guys, if you're smart, this is the point where you point to your significant other and say, I'd like to do that to you, darling. You'll get so many brownie points, it's untrue. And of course we have Dave go through. Get your cameras ready, ladies and gentlemen, because they have smoke on. This is the 2014 Aerostars. Coming in for the Aerostar break, their final manoeuvre. Yes. Ooh.
Oh, there they are. You can see them in the air. They look like clouds. They're a long way away. They look beautiful when they come over.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to the left, we are very proud to introduce the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. I'm going to shut up and let you listen to those wonderful engines. Well, later as the Lancaster, the Hurricane and the Spitfire come around in front of us, the Oranginas are going out collecting, so please put your pounds in, please give generously, because it enables us to do stuff like this, put these aeroplanes up for you. So here we have the Lancaster, the very iconic Lancaster. On its left wing we have the Mark 16 Spitfire, similar to the one you saw earlier, and on the right wing we have PZX-65, the last of the 14,000 Hurricanes to be built. These aircraft are, of course, especially in demand this year at the 70th anniversary of D-Day, and of course will be next year with the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. And their airframe Rs are very, very carefully husbanded down at RAF Coningsby, where a fantastic team looks after them. Many years ago I was actually told how much the spend was every year on the team, and you wouldn't believe they could do it for the money. They do an incredibly good job. Now the Spitfire's peeled off, that's going to be coming back in. This is quite an interesting aeroplane. This used to be one of a pair of exhibition flight Spitfires. They were taken apart, put on a truck. Oh, we have no, it's gone off. It's the Lancaster and Hurricane coming around instead. They're playing confuse a commentator.
Yeah, as you've got all the notes, perhaps you'd like to read them.
I haven't got any notes on this.
Got any notes?
I haven't got any notes on this.
Lancaster Hurricane in Southeast Asia. Command colours, SEAC colours, very different. Seen it in this configuration before. Blue nose.
So the look in front of you now, coming into completing solo display, or doing solo display, is the Mark 16. As I mentioned, this aircraft was one of two aircraft that were part of the exhibition flight. They were loaded into trucks, taken to air days, assembled and left there as a static example, then loaded back on a truck and taken to RAF Abington. The aircraft was sent down to Coningsby some years ago, started restoration. Now, it would be wrong of me to tell you that the first part of that restoration was done without the AOC's approval.
Hello, Bombardier. Okay when you are. Front doors open. Arm doors open, Bombardier. Okay, steady. Rise a little bit. Steady. Box going in a minute. 1, 2, 3. Box still going. Hey, Jimmy, try to be on him. Bob, steady, man. Hurry up, Jimmy, hold on. Where is he, Red Gunner? Can you see him? Down! 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 He's come down! He's come down now. Did you shoot him down? Yeah. He's got his point. Right in the middle. Bloody good. Very good. Right about right. Keep leaving. The truck's coming up with...
Spitfire, they're running along with a number of other aircraft. And if it hadn't been for the tenacity of the British aircraft manufacturing companies, we wouldn't have had any of these aircraft.
Well, the Spitfire is going to join up with the Lancaster. They will be then returning back to Coningsby, where I'm actually quite tempted tomorrow to go and drop in and have a look, actually, because go and visit the visitor centre wouldn't be a bad thing to do. It's a great day out. Yeah, it's on my way home, so I might as well do that. As you mentioned, we're going to shut up and let you listen to the wonderful sound of 6 birds.
You've got a wave like mad at these guys. It's your round of applause to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we should also mention that the Lancaster is flown in memory of the over 50
In this left-hand turn, you'll now see the jets close to around 6 feet away from each other as they form a short diamond formation. Leading the jets is Red 1 squadron leader Jim Turner. It's Jim's third and final year as the team's leader. He's a former Jaguar pilot, but he's very experienced in the display world, having displayed the Jaguar. Spent 3 years previously with the Red Arrows, including leading the Synchro pair.
You ready, Liam?
Spent 3 years as the official advisor to the Royal Saudi Air Force's display team. In for the left, this is Short Diamond.
Lee, excuse me mate, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a missing child alert. Connie is 5 years old, mousy blonde hair, wearing purple pants. She was last seen up by Korea. So it's Connie, 5 years old, mousy blonde hair, wearing purple pants. If you see her, find a community support officer or a policeman. Thank you. Over to you, Lee.
No problem, there we go. That's Apollo. You hear Reds 2 and 3 there acknowledge the move to Eagle. They do so with very metronomic cadence in their voices, the idea being that on the count of 4 in their heads, the pilots extend their air brakes, and on counting 6, they retract their air brakes. So that means the 3 aircraft on each wing drop back in unison to form Eagle. And then from the right-hand side, they're going to fly the Eagle Roll. As they go upside down, boys and girls, they'll see you waving. When the Red Arrows formed in 1964, ready for that first season in 1965, the aircraft they flew was the Folland Gnat, and that was the advanced jet trainer in the Royal Air Force in that era. But in 1976, the Hawker Siddeley Hawk entered service in the Royal Air Force, and in 1980, the Red Arrows started to use the Hawk as their aerobatic aircraft, as we still use today. Well, the Hawk is now a product of BAE Systems, and it's a very successful aviation export, having been sold to 19 countries across the world, and actually it's celebrating the 40th anniversary of its first flight this year. Out to the front now, Reds 4 and 5 have moved forward slightly. Now they're going to show us the planned form of the Russian fighter jet, the Su-27. They're starting to reverse the turn. The NATO code word for the Su-27 is the flanker. You're about to move into a very wide formation now. Reds 8 and 9 will move to the outside of the formation. And from Red 9's left wingtip through to Red 8's right wingtip, the formation will measure 100 metres or 300 feet wide. And to enable the formation to stay as one as they manoeuvre around the skies, the pilots on the outside really have to anticipate their control inputs, and they do so by using the cadence in Red 1's voice commands. But now, coming in from the left, with some very patriotic red, white and blue, and hopefully a massive round of applause as we celebrate 50 display seasons, this is Phoenix. On the leader's right wing is the first of our 2 first-year pilots for this year. He is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Stu Campbell. Stu is a former Tucano instructor, teaching basic fast jet training. He also displayed the Tucano, but operationally he flew the Tornado GR4. Out to the right, the smoke is on as the boys form our trademark shape. And then in true 70s style, the aircraft are all going to smoke as they fly the Diamond Roll. Another big wave, boys and girls. We fly our formations with the odd-numbered pilots on the left-hand side, the even-numbered pilots fly on the right-hand side. And in their 3-year tour with the team, the pilots generally start at the front near the leader, and as their proficiency improves, they move further back. On the leader's left wing now is the other of our first-year pilots. He's Red 3, Flight Lieutenant Joe Horston. Joe is a former Hawk flying instructor and operationally flew the Tornado GR4. In fact, Joe is the only pilot on the team to have flown both this version of Hawk, the Hawk T Mark 1, is also instructed on the Royal Air Force's new advanced jet trainer, the Hawk T Mark II. Well, the smoke goes off to our left. The boys have now formed a very iconic shape. This is of the supersonic airliner, and they're going to show us Concorde. The red one's found a gap. He's going full, pulling up into the Concorde loop. Starting at 400 miles an hour, they pull up at 4G into that loop, and they're starting to change formation shape again. At the top of this loop, which is around 6,000 feet or a mile above us, the aircraft have slowed down to about 150 miles an hour. The G's backed off to around 1G, but as they start coming down the other side, they're accelerating again up to 400 miles an hour. The G's building up to 4G as they show you feathered arrow. Well, that's a mouthful to say on the radio, so we call this FRET. Well, that's the end of the first half of the Red Arrows display, ladies and gentlemen, where you've seen all 9 aircraft performing close formation aerobatics. We're now going to split down into sections of 2, 3, 4, 5 or 7 aircraft and show you some more dynamic manoeuvring. At the front of the formation are Reds 1 to 5. We call them very wide Phoenix shape again. And it's definitely time to get your cameras ready as they roll out directly towards us to start the second half of the display. It's worth noting that Red 1 is flying our spare aircraft. Now, unfortunately, this jet doesn't have a smoking capability. More of that later on. But to the front. Smoke comes on. Reds 1 to 5, 8 and 9, pull up in Phoenix. Keep your eyes on the synchro pair with the blue smoke underneath. This is the Palm Split. With his smoke changing from blue to white on the left-hand side, is Red 6. He is Synchro Leader Flight Lieutenant James McMillan. It's Jim's 3rd and final year as a Red Arrow. He actually was brought up in New Zealand, but transferred to the Royal Air Force in 2002 and became a Hawk flying instructor and Harrier pilot. On the left, he's followed by Red 8. Looking right with the smoke on is Red 7. He's chased down by Red 9. Now these 4 aircraft are closing at 850 miles an hour. Get your cameras ready. This is the amazing Jip-O Pass. The synchro pair leave their smoke on. They're turning away from us at 6G or 6 times the force of gravity. As the synchro pair slingshot out to the front, you need to look to your left for Enid. The wings of Enid drop down to form an inverted V shape. Look to your right. It's a lone jet. He's Red 9. Climbing steeply with a red, white and blue stripe is Red 9, Flight Lieutenant Mike Child. It is Mike's 3rd and final year with the team. He is a former Hawk flying instructor and Hawk display pilot, and operationally Mike flew. It climbs steeply to our right, but you need to look directly to the front for the synchro pair. They pull up at 500 miles an hour at 5 times the force of gravity in line astern. The aircraft reach a height of 7,000 feet. The red smoke comes on as they get ready to draw a heart. Now keep your eyes to the top left of the heart where we see another aircraft approaching. The smoke comes on as he's going to add a spear. That is Red 8. He is Flight Lieutenant Martin Pert. He's a third-year pilot with the team, another former Hawk flying instructor, and Harrier pilots. Now, Red 5 would like... Now look to your right, 45 degrees, you'll see Enid have been joined by Reds 8 and 9. They pull up in 4G in a 7-ship Vixen formation. Red 1 now twists this towards us through 90 degrees in a quarter clover. Now get your cameras ready.
Bloody hell.
This is the vertical break. Six G turns. Get ready for the carousel. Now watch as the pilots swap their smoke colour at each of these 3 crosses using the individual smoke colour control buttons on the aircraft's control column. Now you need to look to your right 45 degrees to find Enid. Enid are in a formation known as Leader's Benefit, and they're going to draw a red, white and blue snake-like shape of smoke in the sky as they fly the Python.
Holding the bank down. Hold back. Hold six.
On the far right of that Leader's Benefit shape is Red 4, who is Flight Lieutenant Ollie Parr. Ollie is a former Tornado GR4 pilot, but he has spent a tour as a Hawk flying instructor at Royal Air Force Valley on the island of Anglesey in North Wales, where we train our advanced flying students. So Enid are out to the left, finishing the Python. Keep your eyes in that direction for Jippo. Red 6 and 7 pitch up and roll upside down. This is the corkscrew. The inside pilots perform tight, matched rolls to the outside of the formation in the rollbacks. Once again, Red 6 and 7 roll upside down. Now 8 and 9 will match their formation underneath. In from the right, this is the mirror pass. Now boys and girls, give the synchro pair a wave as they fly past, upside down. Gives the command for the formation to widen as they roll out into a 4-ship square card formation. Now look to your right 45 degrees. Reds 1 to 4 form a box formation, and here he goes, rolling around the rest of Enid. Dozen times is red 5. This is the twister. Getting very busy when the red smoke on is red 5. He's Flight Lieutenant Steve Norris. Steve's second year with the team. He's a former Hawk instructor. Operationally, he's flown both the Harrier GR9 and the Tornado GR4, and another big hello to his family. Now look directly to the front for Jippo. Reds 8 and 9 roll around 6 and 7. Cameras ready for the Jippo break. Double rolls. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the fabulous synchro pair. Vixen formation, and get your cameras ready. This is the Vixen break. With the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, the Red Arrows!